Hello and welcome to Millennial Mission. If you enjoy growing in your faith and application of the Bible in your Christian life, make sure to subscribe and like this video. And so today we discuss the fact that we live in a corrupt world with mass shootings, abuse, corrupt politicians, and as Christians we look around and what do we say? Jesus, come quickly, right? But here's the deal. Did you know that Scripture gives us a recipe of something we can do right now to see Jesus come quicker? Now, we don't know when that day is going to come, but Jesus gives us specific instructions in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, about how we can see Jesus come quicker by doing this one specific act of faith. But before we answer that question, we have to make sure that we believe that Jesus is actually coming back. Because a lot of people, a lot of atheists, a lot of doubting individuals, they look at Scripture as damning evidence that Jesus was a liar, that he's not coming back, because his words are written in the Gospel of Matthew. They're written in the Gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John about how he specifically says, hey, I'm coming back soon. Before this generation passes, I'm coming back, right? Well, what's the deal with that? How can we deal with this so-called damning evidence that they say Jesus is a liar? Well, here's what we do. We read Matthew 24, verse 33 and 34, where it says, so you too, when you see all these things, recognize that he is near, right at the door. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass until all these things take place. So here's what we have to do. People take these verses, cherry pick them, and use them for their own purpose. But we see here, you have to zoom in on the phrase, all these things, in verse 33. What are all these things? All these things are the signs of the end times. It is not the end. It is not the second coming. It's what leads up to the second coming. And then also, we have to key in on this verse, a phrase in this verse that says what? In verse 33, he is near. Okay? So, near is not right here, right now. Near is in the future. Okay? So, that doesn't mean that he's coming back right now, at this minute. And so in verse 34, what does it say? That this generation will not pass away until what? All these things, right? So that doesn't say this generation will not pass away before Jesus comes back. What does it say? This generation will not pass away until all these things have occurred. So those things being signs of the end times, and we have to understand that God's timetable is different than ours. The time between Adam and the birth of Christ was around 4,000 years, right? But Jesus still came the first time, so we have to wait, but we're not waiting in uselessness, right? So we know that Jesus is coming again, and this is not evidence that he's a liar, but it's evidence that it's the truth. We see these signs of end times. But also we have to look at Revelation 22:12, where it says, behold, I am coming soon. Right? And you and me, when we think about soon, what do we think about? Right now, right this moment, this period of time, right? But we have to dig a little deeper and look at what did the Greek word soon means in Scripture, and it doesn't always or necessarily mean what we would mean by the word soon. What it means is quickly, suddenly, unexpectedly, right? Whereas we think about it as a short period in space of time, in Scripture and Revelation, it's actually talking about unexpectedly, sudden, right? And so we see that Jesus wasn't a liar in the book of Revelation. That book of Revelation doesn't prove that Jesus was fake and he hasn't come back, so it's not the real deal. But it proves that it's true. Because what does that word soon mean? It means unexpected. Behold, you can put that word in there. Behold, I am coming how? unexpectedly. Behold, I am coming suddenly, right? So we think about this, and we know, right? We've settled that Jesus is coming back. So once we know that, what is one thing we can do, right? That Jesus tells us in Scripture to cause him to come quicker. This is oftentimes overlooked by Christians, but in Matthew 24, verse 14, it says, "This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then," what? "The end will come," right? And so this answers the question, hey, what's one thing you and I can do to help Jesus with his second coming back? Well, it has to do with the reason why hasn't Jesus returned. Because he desires that none shall perish, right? He wants to give everybody ample amount of time to be exposed to the gospel. And so this deals with people groups, ethnicities, right? So the whole world, not just not nations like America, but a ethnic group. And so we can look at the progress that we have already made and see that there are 7,400 people groups that are still considered unreached. All right, so these people groups are unreached, and in other words, unreached means that less than 2% are Christ followers and less than 5% professing Christians. And so also, though, out of those 7,400 people groups that are unreached, they have found that 3,000 of those ethnic people groups are not just unreached, but they are unengaged, which means there's no active site church planting underway, no known believers, if any. All right. So we understand the task that Jesus gives us in Matthew 24:14. Obviously, we don't know when the end's going to come. We don't know when Jesus is going to come back. But what did he say? I'm not coming back till every people group hears the gospel of Jesus Christ, hears the opportunity to be saved and know Jesus, right? So the one thing that you and I can do that Jesus gives us here in Scripture is that when the whole world, every ethnic group hears the gospel, after that, at some point in time, Jesus will come back. So you and I, what can we do? Right? We can take the Jesus that got inside of us, that we worship, love, and saved us, and we can share that with the whole world. That we can not just go across the street, but go across the world. We can go on a mission trip. We can love people like we need to. And so, if you've enjoyed this video, then I pray that you subscribe and like this and share this with your friends. Thank you and have a great day.